Just one big joke. It's a fucked up world. Here we are in. I ain't going nowhere.
What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Reason Reborn, episode 37. I know you kind of wanted to start singing the Jeopardy music once it started taking to load up. Sometimes it loads fast, and sometimes it don't. It loaded fast on our episode of His Point Review podcast the other day, and it scared me because we were about to talk about something and I had to stop before the curtain was pulled back, so to speak. Anyway, I'm here with my immigrant host, who ICE is looking for right now. So if you want to find him, go get him. Cardiacsumo.
There's plenty of people they can't find right now. What's up, Fat? How's it going, people? That was probably a mean shot, but
oh man,
still in the country.
I know. And they reunited you with your parents, I see, which is awesome. Unfortunately, they couldn't reunite other children.
I prefer they reunite me with some fucking money, but whatever.
That would be nice once in a while if they would do that.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about just taxes either. Like, we need suffrage for what's going on right now in this country. Seriously, especially if you're a minority. You do need to, like, honestly, I've always been against that whole the 40 acres and a mule argument that people always made about how like they still haven't given us reparations. You know what? It's dealing with this administration, I feel like the reparations do need to come because I'm gonna need it to move to another country. So federal government handle that.
You could all just sue for emotional damages, I guess. Get one lawyer, just like we'll all just hop on the same case.
Get Mr. Avignani. He'll love to defend us for that.
I'm sure he would. Give him more
Sure
excuse to run his fucking mouth.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He'll talk himself to death, or like talk so much that you want him to shut up, and they'll just agree.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's how he just wins cases. Like he just doesn't stop talking until nobody.
Yeah, right. It's like you stop annoying. Like even the judge be like, "Look, I'm calling this, siding with him. Let's get him out of here because I'm tired of this man. You lose, he wins. Okay, I give up.
Justice has its limits, sir.
Yeah, it does. Although now it's really going to have limits, as we're possibly going to find out. We're probably moving towards a more dystopian future. So we better all start watching the Hunger Games and every other dystopian thing.
Yeah, I'm already prepared.
Oh, really? How so?
One bullet to the head. Bam. I'm not playing that game with you motherfuckers. You crazy? You guys watch too many like dark shows. You're getting way too.
So there's no survival. You're just not gonna like stick it out and try to like win.
I'm not playing that game.
You just like know the odds of you don't wish me if the odds are forever in my favor because they're not. Stop lying to me.
How many of you guys grew up like watching those Saw movies and all that, like Centipede and all? No, I'm not playing with you guys. No.
I mean, you have a point. Just like take me out now. Like, don't play with me.
I don't want to see what happens when you guys have the reins taken off. No. I think it'll be a lot worse than you guys think.
Yeah.
That movie, The Purge, I feel like that was like a very conservative estimate about what would actually happen.
It's funny too because I've heard the first Purge is actually good. So I've never seen a Purge movie, but I might want to see that because I'm curious to see how the Purge began in this alternate world.
Obviously, it was Trump.
You know, the funny thing is, they say that it's based in New York because that's the first place where they started it. So perhaps that's who starts this Purge. It's like, hey, we need to do this now. But anyway, so first, before we get into the deep stuff, I have to ask you, since you told me you saw it, what are your opinions of Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Oh, I think the Wasp has a cooler name. She's like the Wasp, whereas Ant-Man's like Bug Boy or whatever. Fuck that dude. It was a fun little movie, man. Like, it wasn't the super duper blockbuster blow my mind movie of the year, but I don't think it was supposed to be. I think it was just like a fun addition to the Marvel library.
I thought it was the good change of pace. Kind of, like we've had the, heavy stuff hit us with Black Panther, and especially with Infinity War. Now it's like, hey, let's just have fun and remember, like, superhero movies don't always have to be so like deep and serious and tragic, but also could be good without being completely silly and ridiculous as well.
And not every villain needs to be like a world level threat trying to destroy the entire planet. Some of them,
right, or just have like some ideology that is so all outrageous or anything like that. Just have a simple purpose and simple goal.
And that is enjoyable. Like, I hope that doesn't come off like an insult to that movie because, like, oh, it wasn't Infinity War or Black Panther. I think one of the things, because I started reading comics like a year or two ago, one of the things I like in comics is that there's just a strong variety. Like, if I want to read something dark and fucked up, maybe I'll read, I don't know, depends on the current run of Batman, whatever it's like. If I want something more fun, like She-Hulk is kind of fun. It's got that nice, quirky kind of energy to it. There's different ways of storytelling, different feelings to each story. Not every one has to be like super dark. Some of them could be more fun, like the Guardian of the Galaxy movies. I wish the Marvel movies had a little bit more variety, but there is some variety there.
Well, I will say in their defense, part of why you didn't get that is because they've been all leading for the majority of the movies, all just kind of funneling into that one moment, which was the Infinity War. And now you're kind of, I think after Avengers 4, you're going to kind of have like, okay, now we can do whatever the fuck we want because we've shown you that, yes, you can tell a long-running, deep superhero saga and movie. You can't, not only can you make comic book movies good, but you can actually tell a comic book story throughout the entire run like a comic book and make it good. So I think, as a friend of mine has been calling it lately, I think Marvel has exerted their big dick energy and they don't need to prove to everybody that they have their big dick energy anymore. And once Avengers number 4 is have you heard of this whole phenomenon, by the way? I just been introduced to
big dick energy.
And this comes from like one of the weirdest places. I actually researched it a bit at work. I couldn't finish reading the article, but so this is an inspiration that spawned from the death of Anthony Bourdain, oddly enough.
Okay.
Someone put out a tweet about Anthony Bourdain's life and mentioned something, and I know I'm getting this wrong, and if my friend listens to this, they're going to yell the fuck at me for not getting it right, but I was at work. I couldn't really concentrate on that, especially once who showed up. I couldn't concentrate on anything. But just leave it at that. But it was basically them just talking about his life and celebrating and saying that he kind of showed the world what it's like to have big dick energy. And basically what big dick energy seems to be is just like, it's kind of like a new way of saying swagger, but on a different level. Like you're so, you are so influential, so confident, and so skilled. You're that person who's at a much higher level than everybody else. Like they made references to people like everybody knows LeBron James got it because he's the man in the NBA. Everybody knows certain actors like Robert Downey Jr. got it. Like everybody just knows he's the fucking man. Things like that. Like people who like everybody just knows, like no matter how much they try to dissuade themselves from saying so, they're the man or she's the woman. They got it like that. Serena Williams, stuff like that. Beyonce. So I have to read the article in full again because I was like very fascinated. But now, of course, this is now the new thing for people to talk about. They either say big dick energy or they just say BDE. That's what you have. So try to get some big dick energy, sir.
Why that term specifically? Like, was it related to porn?
I don't know. It's so weird that's where like they said that. At least this was the article. It was an article on Vox. If anybody's interested, just look up big dick energy and you'll see an article from Vox that talks about it. I guess that's their summation of it. But yeah, I don't know why I guess because that person tweeted and it went viral, it just jumped from that. But I found it weird that that's considered the roots of big dick energy. And to be fair, Anthony Bourdain was a very loved, celebrated personality, and he was like not just loved just by people who watched the show, but like people around the world, like cooks, different personalities who've come in contact with him. He had like a lot of love towards him. So, and he had a lot. Like I remember when he came here, and people went nuts when he was in DC, and he did the whole thing where he talked to Obama, and then had dinner with him, like at just a pub and all of that. And he was just talking to different people, and people were going nuts that Anthony Bourdain was here. So it kind of makes sense.
I guess good on him and good on Marvel for having that big dick energy.
I know it's so fucking dumb and weird to say it. But
I feel uncomfortable. I feel like I'm saying it in a cool way.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not cool enough, or as I've been told, I'm not cool enough to get on it. It's just like, why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about like me? I mean, yeah, sure.
For anybody who hasn't seen Ant-Man yet, stay for the end credit scene, I guess. I mean, most of them have it.
I think you don't need to say that with a Marvel movie anymore, because it's funny. I only saw like a handful of people leave, so these are people who don't really care. Because I don't think anybody not goes to a Marvel movie knowing that you need to stay for not just one but possibly two at this point in time as well. So.
I actually found myself looking up what the second one would be, and I was like, I feel like I need to use the bathroom. So fuck it. I don't feel like it's worth it. So I missed it, but
you missed the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's people who've been trying to break the code of that. I don't think it's as deep as people are making it out to be, but it was cute. It was very cute. I mean, it fit with the movie definitely, because it's like, yeah, it's just a fun ass movie.
Actually, I think the energy was perfect considering we just came off that nightmare that was Infinity War. And by nightmare, I don't mean like bad movie. I mean like
everybody just cried and their hearts broke.
Yes.
Like now you get something to uplift you a bit.
Like now that I think about it, it was probably the perfect time for like just a movie that was mostly fun.
Yeah, put a smile back on your face after the horridness of Infinity War. But yeah, definitely go check out
another one for like ever.
And that's the thing I have I have issue but don't have issue with, because take a break. Yeah, you've done your 3, and it's probably smart to just get them out of the way now. That way you can build up the anticipation, because you're going to get the Captain Marvel next, which is going to be the perfect lead into the 4th Avengers movie.
Sure.
So,
I might for Captain Marvel. I like Captain Marvel, so I dig it.
I just would like to see something. That's the only thing I kind of want right now. I need to see a more in-depth trailer, because not that I have an issue. Yeah, no, we just seen like logos flash and teasers like that, but I really want to see Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, because it's not that I don't like her or anything like that. I just need to know, like, I'm going to be okay with you. You know what I mean?
I have trouble envisioning what she looks like as like, on screen actually being Captain Marvel. Like we've seen like a shot here or there,
right?
But it wasn't like, in the full setting. It was just like her wearing the costume while they were shooting one. So nobody really looks like they do in the movie during like one of those random on-scene shots, because it doesn't have all the production behind it.
Yeah, I need to see you not just in her costume. I need you to see you being Captain Marvel.
Yeah, do some Captain Marvel shit.
Yeah, so that would be cool. I mean, you were cool with Scott Pilgrim, but I can't go off that and say you're going to be cool in this.
But again, Marvel's track record, you always got to give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess. But yeah, just a taste. I feel like I don't know what I'm looking at yet.
Yeah.
It feels like that Kojima game. Anyway.
No, I don't think it's that bad. Because we at least know the premise of Captain Marvel. We got story. We just haven't seen anything. So, yeah.
I just like sticking it to you.
Yeah, because I was about to go off and then I was like, let me stop because he's baiting me. He's baiting me into this whole like whirlwind. But anyway, so not a whole lot. There's like a lot of small things. Like you get Paul Manafort stuck in a hole now. He's under 23-hour isolation because Mueller made it to a point to say that he thinks that he's not going to be able to be safe and comfortable around others, which I don't know how true that would be in a federal prison. But apparently the judge was all in. She was like, yeah, whatever. Sure. Keep him safe. Yeah. So now this man is in the hole, or in his cell at least, for 23 hours, which got to be really bad for somebody like him, like somebody with that much altruism, who's been able to go wherever he wants, when he wants, internationally, and pretty much feel like he can do what the fuck he wants, which is kind of what got him in trouble. But, to go from that, and now, like, you're stuck in a box for 23 hours.
I mean, he's only fucking in there at all because he tried to pull off that witness tampering stuff, or I don't know if they were witnesses, I don't remember, but he was doing some stuff he was not supposed to when he was already in trouble. So it's very hard to have any kind of sympathy toward this guy if you had any to begin with, but he definitely put himself in that hole.
Yeah. You had it. You could have just stayed at home and been chilling, but you decided to be a dumbass. So. What else? Rudy Giuliani going around saying stupid stuff as usual. Talking about there's not going to be testifying because blah, blah, blah.
The thing I love that he said was that, before they would agree to a sit down with Trump, that they would have to prove to them that Trump committed a crime or something like that. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Since when does the defendant in this thing get to make demands like that?
Yeah, the legal process doesn't work like that. I don't come to you and like, here's all the evidence. Do you want to talk about it? Because you don't want to talk about it if you've done something anyway. So therefore, no, I'm not going to show you what you've done. Because you're not going to agree even more so. If you do agree, you're just going to only agree because you know it's something that you can possibly fuck with before we get to the table. So, no.
Nobody else expects that. I mean, they've been taking this kind of position for a while now, right? Where they're trying to dictate the terms of this. And it's like, stop. That is not your position here. I know this is a bit unusual because it includes the president, but I'm sorry, if you don't have the right to be doing this stuff where it's like, we'll do it under these conditions only. You're not in charge. What are you doing?
See, what's the problem is that he doesn't seem to understand that what Mueller is doing is being courteous. He don't understand that. Because if he wants to drop a fucking subpoena on them and he gets somebody to sign that, he gets a federal judge to sign a subpoena to bring him in to talk, you got a problem. Because now if you say no, you're breaking the law. That's contempt, or I forgot what it is. I think it is contempt. Whatever it is, no, you saying no to a court order, they're going to come and handcuff your ass and take you to jail at that point.
Again, the thing that everybody points out is if you're innocent, why not go talk to them? And what a lot of people, I guess, in his camp are worried about, at least quietly worried about, is that he's a fucking liar. So when you get him out there to do this thing, he's just going to lie and get himself in trouble because he's incapable of telling. Not just incapable, it's like he just doesn't care when he speaks what reality is. So he's just prone to lying because he doesn't care what the fact is.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess in part, maybe it is smart. I think I've said this before, for his lawyers to kind of say don't, because where he may not lie about the Russia thing, he may incriminate himself somewhere else because while he's so prone to lie, he's also he easily contradicts himself on things that he say because he'll tell a lie to protect something, but at the same time divulge information on something else that no one is ever actually looking at, and he'll give them precedence to be like, well, wait, what is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. His lies are a matter of quantity, not quality. So
Yeah.
there's never any long-term thought about the lies. It's just in this moment, while I am saying this sentence out loud, what sounds kind of good right now. I think that's why a lot of people are worried about him, because I can see him lying about, like you said, not even necessarily Russia's stuff, just lying in general, which you can't do to the special counsel here. That would get you in trouble.
Yeah, so you have that. You also have Giuliani saying that Trump did, in fact, ask Comey to call off the dogs, basically, and do him a favor and intervene with the investigation, which, why would you say that? Especially after you just went off on the whole tangent of we can't talk to you unless you show us evidence. But oh, by the way, we did ask the last guy in charge to please stop him from coming at us. Even though I'm innocent, I needed, the head of FBI to call off the investigation because I'm innocent.
So I vaguely remember seeing that, but I didn't catch it. So like the way you described it just now, isn't that just admitting you were trying to obstruct justice? Like,
yes.
So what are you doing?
Yes. Like what was the point of saying that you asked Comey to do a favor and back you off? Like, no. But somehow in this bizarre world, it seems to work. So at least at this point for him, because it was one of those things that kind of slipped through the cracks that I found very disturbing.
So, I mean, what is this guy's plan exactly when he goes out there and he's doing all these interviews and saying all this wild shit? Like, I still don't understand what he's doing other than, everybody talks about him trying to undermine this investigation and whatnot, try to win public opinion. But is he winning public opinion? I mean, he just says Trump-level dumb shit. And I'm sorry, but that's the new level of like top dumbness, is Trump-level dumb shit. He just runs out there and says any crazy things that even look bad to the guy he's supposedly defending.
Yeah, I guess he thinks this is a clever way of misdirection. Like, oh, we sound like we admit this, but we don't really admit it over here. You don't know where we're going. What's the truth? Like, it's like, no, it actually don't work like that, because you have federal investigators who are going to actually investigate. Like, they're not going to sit there and be like, okay, well, we think he's lying, so let's not say anything. I'm sure Mueller's team saw that and was like, we need to call Comey now and confirm this.
Assuming they didn't already know that, because
yeah, exactly.
One of the things I think we all have a hard time keeping in mind is that like they just know more than the general public knows. A lot of the shit we find out, they knew months prior. So like,
yeah, some of the stuff we found out is like after they've already snagged people or like got them, because there's been 20 indictments or over 20 indictments and like close to 10 people like who plead guilty and all of that. It's like, it's a lot of people that we didn't even hear about. And it's like, he's
all unfortunate victims of the witch hunt.
Like, I would love to think that Mueller is like calling Trump late at night before he goes to bed and just like, I know what you did. Like the whole I know what you did last summer thing scenario. Just randomly calling him like, you did this, didn't you? And just like freaking the fuck out of him, because he clearly knows.
I just imagine him just like standing over the bed with his arms crossed, all quiet, not saying a word the whole time.
He's our version of Batman. He may do that. He may just be perched in Trump's window looking at him at night. Like, I know.
Trump's like, just end it. It's like, when I'm ready.
Exactly.
It's on my time.
But you know, this and it's funny because saying the Batman thing, it reminds me of a Batman story. It was a Batman annual. I forget what number it was, but it was his annual where he's going over something in his past, where he's learning his detective skills from this detective in Louisiana. It's like it's some random dude that you wouldn't know, but everybody apparently from his research told him he's probably the best detective they've ever met. It just is like some like dirt town in Louisiana, and he kind of like taught Batman his investigative, like the basis of his investigative skills. Anyway, long story short, during this case, the detective got killed because someone involved in the case had his people do something bad, and his people, once they got caught by this detective and Bruce, shot the detective before he was arrested, and the detective died. So as you get to the end of the story, you see Batman as he currently is now, and you see him talking to this old man in a wheelchair, and this old man is crying. And that old man happens to be the guy who had hired the person who helped commit the crime for him and killed the detective. And this guy is crying, and he's like, "Why do you keep doing this to me? You come here every year, and we have this same conversation. Like, haven't I paid enough?" And Batman's like, "No. I'm gonna remind you as long as I can of what you did and how you hurt people." And I feel like that's what Mueller is going to probably do once he finally closes in on everybody. He's going to show up to everybody's jail cell and have this conversation about how he caught them and what they did to the country. Like, that's what I feel like Mueller is going to be. He's going to be like, he's seriously going to be Batman. Just forever fucking haunting your dream.
I see it. I mean, I bring that up because, we're so used to things just spilling out of the Trump White House that we forget that people actually know how to keep a secret and shut their mouths and, conduct themselves professionally. So I can only imagine, the type of stuff he just knows that he just, he looks at if he watches the news, he's just like, "Man, you motherfucker don't even know, huh?"
Yeah, I know.
Wait till next year.
You know, it kind of does feel like he does things like a comic book, like every month a new issue comes out, and it's like the big part of the plot. Like, geez, sir. So yeah.
Despite Giuliani constantly saying this is, unfair or witch hunt, I can't remember the exact term he used, the most biased thing ever. It's very much proving not to be everything he says it is. So,
yeah.
Let's see how this goes.
Yeah. So tune in next week for the episode of Robert Mueller.
Anybody ever? Maybe this is a dick question. Anybody checking Giuliani's mental state? See if he's still got it. There's something funny's going on up there.
Yeah, I know. He should be having a daily CAT scan at this point to see what's going on with his brain, because that man is all over. You have to remember, he's always been insane. It's just that he's kind of got in the accepted position because of 9/11.
Okay, so anybody checked him? Because
that's what I'm saying.
not trying to think about it.
No, seriously, I agree.
There's something not right about that guy.
No, because if you go through his history, even before 9/11, he was a fucking nut. I remember, especially if you listen to a lot of hip hop in the 90s, he was very vilified because he was the one who came up with a lot of the harsh law enforcement rules that got a lot of people caught up and killed by law enforcement in the early 90s, throughout the 90s. So he kind of always had a villainous persona to more liberal people. But at the same time, it was 2001, September 11, 2001 comes along, and he's America's mayor. And it's all of a sudden, all that past stuff kind of got glossed over because, like, he was mayor presiding over everything, and everybody was like, "Look how he's acting!" And to be quite honest, he didn't do shit. Like, let's be totally 100% honest. What Giuliani did wasn't that immaculate. He gave a couple of encouraging speeches, which you kind of supposed to do. And he couldn't necessarily focus in and hone in on his batshit insanity, I guess, at that moment, because he had, a real big issue to deal with. But yeah, he didn't, like, looking back on that, I never understood why he was celebrated so, other than the fact that he happened to be mayor in probably the most popular city in the United States during its most tragic moment. Like, I maybe maybe you like have some information. Oh, how old were you in 2001?
Young. I don't really remember it that well, so it's probably fairly young.
Yeah, because, like, I know, of course, I'm old as dirt. I was in my 20s, like early mid-20s, when that whole shit went down, and I can remember a lot of things vividly, but I never remembered this, like, whole spectacular performance.
I guess it would have been like 8 or 9.
Yeah. I just don't remember Giuliani, like, being this bastion, this stalwart symbol of America. I just think it's something that just got thrusted upon him. Everybody was, their whole emotion overran.
Yeah. So mention the guy.
Like, nobody says anything about the mayor of DC. I mean, DC actually did get hit. Well, Northern Virginia, but it's kind of considered the same thing to most people. But it's like nobody ever, like, deified anybody in this area over what happened, like they did Giuliani, which I find weird.
Yeah, I only thought about it because, like, I'd seen some clip. I guess it was from Colbert's show, must have been yesterday or whatever, where he brought up the fact that at one point Trump had that one mental examination or whatever from that doctor who turned out to be kind of bullshitty.
Yeah, Dr. Jackson. Oh man.
And he's like, how come we never, his point was essentially like we never sent anybody else to, like, check him for real or whatever. And that made me think about Giuliani. So it's like, why is nobody, like, talking about, are we just that used to people saying insane shit? I kind of want somebody to address the fact that these are grown men saying, like, crazy ass shit. But if they weren't, like, if they were saying stuff like this and they weren't in the political arena, I feel like somebody would be, like, at least checking them out, seeing what's going on here. A doctor would be consulted. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I find it weird. I feel like you should more so ignore those people when they're not in important positions. Like, what Giuliani and Trump do is very much the reality TV show type of bullshit. And it's like, okay, I could accept that when you're on a reality TV show, but you're the president and you're the president's lawyer and you're going in public saying this nonsense. Like, yeah, why isn't anybody actually coming out and saying we have to officially check your stability? Because
even if you're knowingly doing it, just on the outside, it's so absurd. You would think somebody should just start broaching this as a potential problem to be investigated.
Yeah, because it's a national concern. I mean, even if you don't want to acknowledge, like, any wrongdoings that they did, you should kind of be concerned at the stability of these people, because especially with the president, this is the man with his finger on the button. I don't want him to just, like, one day just decide, like, I love tacos, let's blow up Mexico. And then, like, or something, like, really dumb, like, just off the wall, like, what? That don't even correlate, but you're gonna blow up what?
Sure. I'm not saying it because he's old or because I don't agree with him politically. It's just at some point, like, if their behavior right now isn't triggering enough of a concern to give them some sort of examination, what do they have to do? Do they have to like run out, around Capitol Hill in their underwear or something, foaming at the mouth? Like, at some point, something has to trigger more of a concern here.
Yeah. But it's like everybody's just like, okay, just back off and let the crazy men do what they do. I don't know.
I feel like that's the callus we're developing here, where we know up here that it's fucking nuts, but like emotionally, I don't think it's triggering the powerful emotions it should to hear crazy things like that.
Yeah. I kind of get part of the whole argument, like we shouldn't focus in on these crazy things. And I'm like, yeah, I agree to the point of I shouldn't sit and go, oh my God, Trump fucked a porn star. Oh my God, Trump, whatever other weird random, the P thing or whatever. Like, I shouldn't be so hyper focused on that. But what I should be focused on, like the fact that this guy has a resume of weird, odd, unusual behavior. He's made some really off the wall comments. Like, as a whole, I'm troubled by his behavior, not necessarily the action itself. It's this behavior that we should probably be that's just why we should pay attention to these things. But we never address it in the light of this behavior is wrong. We need to do something about it. It's just always at best, it's taking personal distaste at the action and then moving on to the next.
If it wasn't in a political context, I feel like it would be noticeably more concerning. Like you would notice it as more of like a potential psychological issue if it wasn't about politics or perhaps religion. Like, one of those things people get really passionate about. Like, if it wasn't a more normal arena, it would register to you a lot more readily than it does right now.
Yeah, which is just weird.
Like if a cashier at Walmart just started like running off at the mouth like this, you'd be like, somebody needs to sedate that motherfucker and let's get them the help they need.
Yeah, they'd be pulled into the office to get a talking to. But Trump never gets pulled into the office. This is like, yeah, he said that. And we go about like, nah. I don't know. Okay, so the big stuff, basically. Although, first, before we get to the big stuff, let's talk about future big stuff that's going to happen. Because this is probably going to be another entertaining summit coming up. Because President Trump will be visiting NATO during their annual meetings. And he's already given his opinion on NATO, basically. Not too flattering, to be kind about it. Especially with him prefacing that they're going to need to step up and pay more money or we're not helping them anymore. Bullshit. But we've seen him at the, what was it, G7 or is it G6 now? Did he pull out?
I think it's G7. The question is it going to be G8 next time again? But
oh yeah, because he wants his Russia. He's just Russia. Oh, but yeah. We saw those shenanigans. So he's up again with the entirety of the Atlantic nations. And yeah, I don't know what to expect for this. What do you think is going to happen as he heads to speak with the rest of the world? It's a scary thought that this is the man we have talking to other countries.
I'm sure he's going to say some wild shit. I think the real question is, what are the other countries going to do about it? Or I guess is your point, like, is he going to just go ahead and try to pull out of NATO or whatever he's going to do? I mean, I'm sure he will to the extent that he can. I'm curious about what the other countries will do. I don't know. I remember which country it was, but I'd seen some clip on my way here, back to my house. Like, some dude was, I think, responding to him, and he said something like, America should remember who its allies are. It has a very few allies anyway. And I'm like, God damn. You have to say it like that, but facts? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, reality is that while we have our hands in a lot of different countries, they don't really like us. And even our allies don't really like us, but they're willing to deal with us. At least, some of them might like us, but
Yeah,
most of
I like to think some of them do at
yeah,
some point like us. I don't know what they feel like. I doubt they like us right now, but I'd like to think our relationship was fairly good. I mean, NATO's fairly old. It was right after the World War II, right? So
yeah.
it's been around for a while. I'm sure some of them liked us and respected us.
Yeah, that's all seemingly going out the window because this dude, again, he does nothing but alienate and piss people off.
So I will say I hadn't had too much time to think very much about what he would do there because, two other things have been taking up the news cycle so much. But I think it's a good question. I don't really know what to expect because I haven't thought too much about it. I guess just vaguely, I'm sure he's going to blast them for the same stuff they always do, not carrying their own weight, trying to, renegotiate better deals because they're always fucking us and blah, 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 blah. They'll respond how they respond. And then we'll go from there. And then we'll wake up on a Tuesday morning one day and be like, we're not part of NATO anymore. Which
is dumb.
I'd be scared. I mean, we're like the main architect of that type of shit, right? So
yeah, we push for shit like this. Yeah. That's the funny part about it is like as non-American as he likes to say all these things are and how anti-American they are. These are things that we wanted.
Sure. NATO, TPP, all this stuff that he hates.
NAFTA, all that shit. Yeah.
Like, this is American stuff. And a lot of Americans will tell you that it was in America's best interest to do that shit. It's why we did it. Like, it wasn't because we were just like super awesome and nice. Did it for a reason.
Yeah, it's not like, the other countries got us drunk and whispered in our ear. No, we were cognizant. We were willing participants in this. We were the ones who made the suggestion. So,
I mean, I like to think some things we do on the world stage are just altruistic, but a lot of them, rightly so, have self-interested motives, and there's no problem with that. It's good when something benefits you and other people. Like, the zero-sum game Trump always wants to play is a stupid game.
Yeah, and that's why like going to this NATO is going to be even rougher than probably any other U.S. meeting with them because you have the trade war that's ramping up. And he's increasingly pissing people off with that, and he's increasingly putting the United States in the position where financially we're going to have issues because other countries are going to charge us more. And it's like, it's funny because I bought a packet of bacon the other day. Yeah. It's this special low sodium bacon that I get that's really, really good, but it's kind of really healthy for you. And I picked it up and I looked at the price and I was like, wait, this doesn't seem right because it's $6. This isn't a big pack of bacon. This is a small pack of bacon, but it's $6. And it's just like, look at the way things are inflating already. Because I could have swore even before it would have maybe been $1 less at least, if not $2 less. But now this shit is fucking no. It wasn't even $6. It was actually $7. Now that I think of it, so yeah, it was like $2 more than I was normally used to. And it was like, think about some of the things that are going to go up and how they're going to go up. How they're going to affect us. Like, it's not going to be pretty. And he knows this. You already have the companies that have been backing out, like the Harley Davidson thing. And I forget what was the other company that just made an announcement recently that they were going to shift.
I didn't see that. Who
jobs. It was, I forget who, I can't think of it, but there was another place that said that, yeah, they think they're going to shift jobs to another country. But it's like stuff like that's going to become more commonplace. It's going to be counterproductive to what he's saying. Like, he's always talking about how strong the economy is, how it's great, all this, but it's like that can't be true if you already have these moves being made. Because if the economy was truly strong and we really, really were behind all these ideas, nobody would budge. You know what I mean?
Sure. I'm somewhat shocked that he keeps pushing through with this shit. I mean, it was one thing when everybody kept telling him this is stupid, but it's now he's doing it and it's proving to be stupid in real time, and he's still doing it. So he's not deterred by objective argument, and he's not even deterred by reality. So how do you stop him?
Yeah.
Congress can do anything about that, but I mean,
Yeah, and it's funny, as we talk about this, I actually picked up my phone and just saw that two things just came up that shows like how he doesn't care. One is the Trump administration is readying another round of tariffs on Chinese goods worth $200 billion, ramping up the U.S.-China trade war. And then you have him slashing funding for a program that helps America sign up for Obamacare by $26 million. So, yeah. He's making it more expensive to get things in this country in all types of ways.
and you're seeing must have been on the news, like these different stories of these workers in this country that are just worried. Not even just worried, like their livelihood is being threatened. Like I saw, what were these dudes doing? Were they catching lobster or some shit? You know, they caught some sort of creature for food that they sell, and they were like, 20% of our stuff goes to China, so they can't sell there. I mean, like, one of them looked like, the way he was talking almost made me want to cry. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Throw a joke in there somewhere. That's just dark. Like, well,
Yeah, no.
why are you doing this?
You can't afford to export.
Yeah. Which I think goes to Trump's not understanding how global markets work now. We're a lot more interwoven now with how we trade and stuff. So you can't just do this type of thing and expect it to go well. People's jobs are literally on the line. You have those companies you mentioned that are going to be shifting work out to deal with certain tariff issues, and you have people here who they export shit to other countries, and they're going to be really fucked when those countries decide to clap back at you over these tariffs you imposed for no reason. Again, you're doing this for no reason.
It's no sense in making anything in the United States if the United States is going to get slammed because they're slamming other people. It's like, yeah, China is going to charge you a ridiculous amount to bring it in. So why not talk to China? It's like, hey, can we build here? China be happy. They'll take whatever percentage you're going to give them for allowing them to have facilities. And when you ship stuff from that facility to the rest of the world, you don't have to worry about, getting slapped because nobody wants to deal with the United States. And then you could just have a facility in the United States to supply small needs for this country. Or I don't think the tariff applies to U.S. born companies. So that's how you kind of skirt that. It's like if I ship from China and I'm an actual U.S. company, I think you still get like some type of leeway because you're at an actual U.S. entity in reality. So no, you don't pay it. But if you're a foreign country, you do. So yeah, they're loopholing that shit. And I don't blame them because fuck.
That's not the type of thing that has long-lasting. So when Harley Davidson said, they're gonna start building somewhere else. Let's say another president comes, they get rid of Trump's dumb shit, right? Why should Harley Davidson come back when they already have their shop set up somewhere else? Like, especially because it costs them a lot of money to do it now, to move somewhere else. So why would they pay again?
It also gives them leverage because it's going to go back to the whole thing that he tried to make a big deal about, like negotiating jobs and stuff that he never did. It's like, yeah, if the next president really is truly trying to bring jobs back to the United States, that company's not going to come back like just, oh, shucks. We know it was just Trump. We'll come back. No. You just gave them a bargaining chip. You really want us to come back? We're fine without being here. What you got to offer? And that's where you end up getting these crazy breaks for these companies. It's like the crazy break that he gave that carrier for not even really saving jobs, just not getting really rid of as many people as they were going to get rid of before. Like, yeah, now they got a crazy, stupid tax break that they can take advantage of. They still got rid of 300 people, and they still have outsourced some of their production to another country. But at least you save those 1,000 people.
And the way he wants to cut deals with the EU and all this stuff, like, again, putting all of our allies on edge because the economy can get fucked in. What was it, during that crisis we had a decade or so ago? The world economy took a hit because of what happened here. I'm pretty sure that they didn't forget. So
yeah, no.
Because again, when you have everything interwoven, things affect each other.
Yeah, because the world is still recovering, and it's like now you're putting them in another panic. Everything was just getting better.
What was the odd thing about all this? Like, despite all the complaining he's doing about how terrible everything is, things are not terrible. There are people who have lost jobs in certain areas because, well, there's several reasons, but sure, there are people who are rightfully frustrated and angry, and we could have and should do a better job of helping those people. But this doesn't help those people. It kicks them in the ass even more. So what is the point of all this? It would be one thing if, like, at the expense of everybody else, he was helping those people because, like, they're his base. But he's not even helping them. So I don't know what the fucking point of all of this is.
Yeah. No, it's nonsensical, but it seems to make sense with him to go around the world and piss other people off.
Speaking of, somebody died, like, somewhere in the UK. Some woman died because of that. What is that? What is that nerve agent called?
Oh yeah, I forget what it's called, but I know what you're talking about. The toxin from coal.
Right. So somebody died from that. I don't know if they determined if it was like the same batch that Russia used earlier. Was it this year or last year? Whenever they used it, it was recent.
It was this year.
Yeah, I don't know if they determined if it was the same batch or like a different attack or whatever, but somebody died from that. And we have our president blowing Putin. So, you know, when you're talking about our relationship with our allies, I think it looks pretty bad when somebody over there, one of the people in our allied countries died from this Russian shit, and you're just giving Putin the old 1-2 jerk off there. Like, yeah, it doesn't look good. You're cozying up to our enemies and just not giving a shit about our allies. It looks super awful.
Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the things he's going to do when he goes to NATO. He's like, yeah, you should let Russia. And I'm like, what? Stop trying to, like, get Russia into everything.
My concern is that they're going to bring up that happened, because it did just happen, like, this week, I think. So they're going to, because they know that he loves Putin and all this stuff, so they're going to be like, you know, are you going to say anything about what Putin did over here? He actually killed one of the people on our soil.
Yeah.
You can say anything about it, and he's not going to. Or he's going to blame them somehow, and I don't know how that's going to spin out, but it can't possibly spin out in a good way.
By the way, I saw a weird thing. Ahead of Trump coming to London, they have seen an increase of people in the UK playing the song American Idiot by Green Day. Also, I don't know, have you seen the blimp they also created to greet him?
Yeah, that baby blimp.
Yeah. Like, dude, you're not just inspiring hate in your own country. You're inspiring international hate. Oh, geez.
I mean, doesn't that say something pretty serious, that even the other countries are just protesting your very presence in their country?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have a better grip on this one. When other presidents have gone to, you know, visit other countries, has this type of thing just happened where they...
Yes, to varying degrees they have. I mean, because we have to remember, examples like Bush wasn't liked everywhere. Remember the guy who threw the shoe at him?
Sure. But I guess that meant something like on this scale.
Yeah, I was going to say, but it's never been like a super concerted effort, or at least one that has been like given the audience that it has. Like I'm sure any president that goes to anywhere in the Middle East is going to get some flack, especially if you're a president who sits down, even if it's just to probably help other countries with Israel. You sit down at the table with Israel, and people have a natural, visceral reaction to that. But again, it's generally not to this degree on damn near everything. Because look what we're doing now. I can't even recall doing this during the Bush administration, either Bush administration or during the Cold War when Reagan was, Reagan and Carter and all of them. And I can't think of anything historically diving into the Cold War era where there's been this collective groan because the president of the United States is coming to show up someplace. It's either a collective groan from us because we're like, oh my God, what is he going to do to embarrass us now? Or it's a collective groan from us like, what the fuck is he going to do now? He's going to like try to fuck up now when things have been going so well. It's like, it's so weird that we are in a state where it's like, it's not just nobody doesn't like the president because of American policies. They don't like him and his policy. You know what I mean? It's like the hate for the American president generally has been due to we don't like America's policies or how they handle things. So because you're the leader, you're going to get this, you're going to get this heat. He gets it because he is just a naturally vile and repulsive person, period. On top of he's also bringing toxic policies with him.
Yeah, I do think it's an interesting focus on him. That's why I thought that blimp was a nice visual of this issue because, like you said, he as an individual is an unusual focus for the rest of the world's ire, and he deserves to be. They're doing it for a reason. I wish the people in this country here in America would take note of the fact of the way the rest of the world is reacting. Because I remember back during the campaign and stuff, they went to a few random countries and they asked about Trump and they were all laughing about this guy, and I'm like, this is one of the guys that might be the president, and they're laughing at the very notion that he could be president. He was very alarmed. Maybe not alarming because I don't think a lot of us thought he would really win at that time, but it was embarrassing at least that he'd gotten that far in the election process, and they were making jokes about it. It's like you can't even defend against the jokes because it's a joke. It's laughable. It shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, no. This is not now. Again, it's always been American policies, not the person who kind of been the focus. And this guy has way too much of the focus, which I guess is how he likes it.
I'm sure.
But yeah, because it's funny because as we were talking, I'm still really sitting here and thinking through this whole thing. It's like this is part of why, like, I know people hate seeing it, but this is part of the reason why after they leave office, you can see these different presidents come together and work together and have, like, even if it's just a professionally social relationship, some type of relationship. It's like they're not generally like they don't like each other's policies, but they respect who they are and what it's like to be in the job. I don't see Trump ever being in that type of circle where you could see like how you see now. You see both the Bushes, Clinton, the Obamas, the Carters, kind of spending time with each other, having discussions, being able to cordially come together and start like programs, do fundraisers, attend certain events and things like that. They could be very cordial to each other at the least. I seriously don't see, like, after his presidency, if he somehow makes it through a term or two, I can't see him being invited to the party at all. Mind you, he's going to frame it, well, I didn't want to be at the party. But the reality is, no, nobody was going to ask you anyway.
Melania might be there. But
yeah, exactly. She'll be there, but she won't.
Weirdest fucking thing, but she probably will. I mean, yeah, if you line up a lot of the presidents in modern history, you just say, you know, one of these things is not like the other. It's not Obama because he's the black guy. It's Trump because he's a clown.
Yeah, no. And that's another funny thing that you just brought up, because yeah, you would have thought that the main focus would be like, out of all these, the odd man out is the black guy. No. He's not.
He was actually presidential. But so what do you think, I guess, is going to happen with this NATO issue? And as a matter of fact, with this upcoming meeting with Russia, come to think of it.
Well, the meeting with Russia is just going to be a waste of time, because it's going to probably be like the other one where, like he said, yeah, I'm not going to have any Americans around. It's just going to be me and Putin. Putin's going to sweet talk in his ear and tell him what he needs to do. And he's going to be sure you're right, because you're such a cool thing to me. I want to be just like you. I want everybody to quake in my presence too. And yeah,
I wish that was more funny.
Yeah, no, it should be. It seems like I'm joking, but I'm not. I really am not. That's the funny part. Like, I'm not trying to be humorous at all. That's kind of morbid as fuck, but okay.
Yep. Laughing so I don't cry.
Yeah.
That's the what about the NATO stuff? You think we're gonna get through that fairly?
I think it's just gonna be a repeat of what happened in Canada, where they're generally just going to kind of it's gonna be that picture again. It's gonna be a bunch of people yelling at this guy while the kid is sitting with his arms folded.
I mean, true, but
although I think this one, it might be slightly different in the way that I think there's a lot more nations there that will be willing to just close him out and ignore him.
Yeah, I'm deeply concerned about that. I didn't think that Russia meeting he has. I forgot to ask, like, how is it that you have a guy, and I know other people brought this up, but you have this guy who, like, a lot of the country thinks has a weird relationship with Russia, and he just doesn't give a fuck about trying to prove anybody wrong. He just goes, has a private meeting with Putin that nobody else can see. Like, we all sense this, like, level of, I shouldn't say we all, I'm sure he has the supporters that don't, but a lot of us in America and around the world.
I think you were right with the we all thing.
There's a general sense that there's something fishy about his relationship with Russia. And he doesn't even try to look innocent. He just goes. He's like, fuck it. We're going to have a nice closed door meeting, just the two of us. Nothing sinister happening here. Like, just politically, you don't even care about how this looks? Like, oh,
yeah.
I mean, I guess he doesn't, but shit.
I mean, no, other presidents, including Obama, have met with Putin.
They didn't have this
under these circumstances. They didn't have that air.
Yes, there wasn't much concern about Obama, like, being a sleeper agent for Russia. So,
yeah. I
mean, you could argue that he shouldn't have done it, but it's not the same kind of problem.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I that's just how I envision it being just a waste. I think best case scenario is that you get a whole situation where they ignore him as much as they can, and they just kind of do like they did with the Paris peace treaty thing, where it's like, okay, so you're not with this, cool. We're gonna go over here and have a discussion like adults. You go sit at your kids' table and, you know, color or something, because you clearly don't want to be an adult.
So one thing I feel like I missed is, like, why are we doing this? Why is he doing this? It's not like when he went to sit down with, you know, Kim it was based around, the nuclear issue, trying to I don't remember the term they were using was, we have some tension with them, try to get them to like ease off and not blow us the fuck up. Like as concerned as I was about him going over and talking with Kim, I kind of understood why he was at least trying to do it. What is he trying to accomplish here with Russia? What is the point of this? Is it just to like hang out and have a beer? Like, what is this?
Yeah, because while we do have our issues with Russia, this meeting wasn't necessary.
Or at least somebody could explain why it's necessary.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I can hear a reason. Like, I just don't know what provoked him doing this.
Right, and that's why I say it's not necessary, because there was never a real reason given to us on the tables, especially since he's always framed their relationship as good, positive, and as if everything's cool. It's like, what is your main focus of talking to him if you don't really have anything to discuss other than girls' night out? I guess I don't know.
That's the way I'm envisioning it, because like the way it seems framed to me, it just sounds like two guys who are gonna hang out. Because I don't know that there's like a mission for this meeting. I don't know what he wants. I don't see any reason for him doing this other than
the only thing I could think of would be something nefarious, which is he needs to strategize with them. Especially, is this meeting happened before NATO or after? I think it's happened before, right? Okay, it's going to be after.
I don't know. We could check, I guess. But
either way, you could come up with a very bad cause, because if it's before, then he's strategizing with Russia on what they want to be done and said, and what issues to be addressed. If it's after, he's just basically dishing on what happened so that they can work out what they're going to do in the aftermath.
Which you would think is yet another reason he shouldn't go, or if, at least not now, just for the look. Yeah,
exactly. It's like you already look like you're his fucking slave. This don't help. And as somebody who has a big thing on image, I find that weird that he would do this.
I guess he just loves Putin that much that he just doesn't care how it looks, or he just feels like he's so bulletproof it doesn't matter. I don't know. It seems like a weird new talking point to give the news cycle for no reason. The fake news media that you hate so much. It seems like a weird level of ammunition to give them for no good reason.
Yeah.
Especially because, if you get lonely, you can just call them up on the phone and be like, hey, boo, how you doing? Whatever. Why do you have to go and talk to him in person? I guess you can't jerk somebody off over the phone. Anyway.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, but anyway, that's the gist of the smaller stuff. The bigger, I guess, the last not small issue would be the whole immigration drama. So today was the deadline for the United States to return all children under 5, 120, I believe it was, to their parents that they were separated with. And what happened was they weren't prepared to do it. They had asked for an extension because they knew they weren't prepared. They cited how hard it was, blah, 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 blah. Wasn't that hard to take them away? It was 102 children. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it wasn't that hard to take them away, but it's hard for you to get them back because you didn't catalog or actually come up with real documents. You just literally just snatched these kids and you did nothing to document this. That's the thing that bothers me the most about this whole thing. So,
because I know a few weeks back I had said I was confused about what it meant when we said we'd lost some of these kids or their parents or whatever. And I feel like I even offered an apology. I'm like, should I have offered that apology? Because it sounds like they really don't know what the fuck's going on right now. So.
Yeah, because the whole narrative that we apologize for was the whole fact that they lost these kids. Now it seems like they really did, not necessarily in the literal sense, but yeah, systematically they had no way of connecting these children to the people they took them away from, which is dumb. Which kind of leads to the narrative of you were just trying to hold these kids hostage.
But it's not just the narrative. That's literally the point, right? That was the motivation that, who was it? Sessions, I think, told us, that day he was out there at the podium giving that talk. I feel like I remember somewhat well when he said that shit. Like, yeah, you don't want your kids taken away, don't bring them here illegally, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and Trump sadly doubled down on that today after this whole thing where, they weren't able to get the kids. He made a statement where he was like, well, this wouldn't have happened if you wouldn't have brought your kids here in the first place, and that it won't happen again as long as we keep immigrants from coming here.
Yeah.
Which is a very fucking dumb, wait, no. Because this wouldn't have been an issue at all. We would have not thought about it or had this conversation had you not done the separation in the beginning.
I mean, which leads to them, not being able to properly record, keep whatever records they need to reunify these people. I guess they probably just weren't expecting the volume they got after this no tolerance policy went into effect. And they probably just weren't built to handle that large a number of people in there. So that's not an excuse for them not keeping those records, but it was probably easier with fewer people before, right? So, because as desperate as they were to do this stuff, they clearly didn't really think about how to actually do it in practice. They just did it. Fuck any practical strategy or consequence or anything.
Yeah. It's funny, but it goes back to the whole, what are you doing? Like, how horrible are you at running a country? Like, you clearly can, again, something we've said since his election, you should not want someone who's going to pick people who don't know what they're doing, on top of the fact that he doesn't know what he's doing, to run a country, because you're going to have things like this where there's no organization, there's no real plan, there's no real thought out processes being done. There's a lot of directives being thrown around and actions being taken, policies being made up, but none of them have any real cohesion to them. It's just random as fuck. And it's let the chips fall where they may type attitude that's disturbing.
Yeah. I think they may have been talking about, or at least he was talking about it, had been in the White House for a while before this, but I'm sure a lot of these groups that are, have to carry out his orders or whatever, they just don't really know that it's coming, because he just announces shit, and then everybody else has to, figure out the policy to make it happen. So a lot of them really just aren't prepared to do the types of stuff he's pretty much making them do.
Yeah. On an off note, why does Kane's wig look so bad? He explained that to me. It's always been horrible ever since he shaved his hair.
I think you're just a hater.
No, seriously.
That is the next mayor of Knoxville County or whatever the fuck he's running for.
Yeah, no. Which is to the point, sir. Can't you at least ask Vince, now that you're a mayor, to raise your budget and let you get a better? Why couldn't it just look human or look like real hair? It really legitimately looks awful. Anyway.
This guy just hating for, he just unprovokedly hating. Nobody was messing with him. He just had to hate on some shit.
Yeah, I know. Every time I see it, I just can't stand it. It's like Kane. So
Yes, but yeah, they failed to meet today's deadline. So, which I don't know that any of us thought they would, but
all right.
they failed. As like, at least I expected them to. So, even though I heard several of them say like, "Yeah, we're gonna get it done," I was like, "I bet you're not."
Yeah, no. They're horrible. Horrible at their job. Why y'all still support them? I don't know.
I mean,
Anyway,
but the way Trump doubled down on it, I'm sure a lot of them agree. Like, yeah, they're blaming them. They're like, "Yeah, if you don't want your kids taken away, don't come across illegally." Like, what the? Like, that sounds disgusting to most of us.
yeah.
Because there is certainly a way that you can, you know, execute laws and stuff and have a country with some order without being assholes.
Yeah, you
know
can
what?
show some empathy and compassion in some way. You don't have to just be a dick about it.
I feel like that instinct is a large issue with how we look at law enforcement, generally speaking. I think when you look at like the race issues we have in this country, where, you know, what are those situations where you have a cop using obviously excessive force, and people are just like, you know, you should do what the cops say. You should blah blah blah. Like, there's zero empathy. There's zero call for like decency of any kind. It's always just like, well, this is the law. These are the law enforcement people. You're the one fucking up. It's a love for law enforcement not tempered by any rationality or empathy.
Yeah. By the way, Kofi Kingston's crazy.
I mean, yeah, his hairstyle's always something to behold.
Oh no, you're probably not watching, but what he did, it's just like, really?
I just thought I was thinking of a poster I saw earlier for their match coming up.
By the way, you know this is a very obvious setup for what's happening tonight, right?
Yeah, there's no such thing as creativity.
Yeah, no, it's like, gee, so now we have a 5-man tag.
A lot of people act like Teddy Long was the one who always just made these tag matches. It's like, no, bro. They always do it on every show, well, not NXT, really. They don't do that.
No, NXT doesn't do the random, like, oh, we're just going to do a tag match since you all haven't. No.
On the rare occasion they have a tag match, it's like, it doesn't need a setup like this.
No.
Hey, man. Don't be dropping
It
that
is good to see Eric Young, though, on the main roster finally.
I'm mad. Don't be dropping that fat ass on fucking Brian's head. Come on, man.
That's what he wants.
But yeah, just the lack of, I don't know, this idea that, I don't know how to describe it, that law just trumps human decency overall.
Yeah. But it's not. That's the funny thing, that it's not even a case of law trumping human decency. It's just good old-fashioned hate. Hiding behind law, like, I guess, which is American tradition, I guess.
Yeah, but it's the excuse they use. It's like, well, it's your fault because we have these laws and you didn't fucking whatever, which I don't know why people act like law and decency aren't mutually exclusive. Like, you can't have both. Like, you shouldn't have both.
Yeah, no, like, I understand, sure, stop them at the border, detain them because they're coming here illegally. That I'm honestly not, I have no problem with. It's just, they just take the extra step. That is the problem. I think that I wish most law enforcement agencies or entities in this country could understand that. And that's part of the problem, is that one thing that is a law. It's just like I've always said with the whole concept of stealing and all that. Like, I understand how some people have this whole, well, I had to do it to feed my family. I get that. But you did break the law, so you will have to be punished. That being said, you don't have to fucking give somebody 20 years for stealing a loaf of bread type thing. You know what I mean? It's
Sure.
like, it's like we tend to like overdo it when we want to administrate the law in certain cases.
I think that's why was again when I mentioned that lack of irrationality, where it's like the punishment you're getting does not even come close to fitting the crime that you actually committed. Which is why you hear Trump always alluding to gang violence and all this stuff, because it's pretty hard to justify treating humans like that when they are running away from horrible problems in their own country, or they're like it's easier to justify doing this if you can cast them as just violent criminals coming to fuck up the country.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because
I mean, you said most law enforcement are cool with like stopping them at the border or whatever. I think most Americans are fine with that idea. Yeah. Just because we reel when you implement it in the most disgusting way possible does not mean, despite what a lot of them say, that we want open borders. I don't think anybody cares to have that.
No, it's the same as the argument with gun control. Like I hear people panic, like, "Oh my God, they're gonna get rid of guns." Like, one, they're not gonna get rid of the Second Amendment. We all know this. Okay, so calm the fuck down. Oh, and nobody's asking for that. We're just like, yo, be a little smarter in who you give a goddamn gun. If you want to give people the right to have guns, do due diligence and make conscious decisions based on like research and evaluation and analyzing the situation.
Even if you love guns, really think about it. Of all these liberals you hate, how many of them have literally said we should repeal the Second Amendment? Who makes that argument explicitly?
No one has, and that's why I don't understand why that was the argument. Just like I don't understand how the whole argument with immigration is you just want the borders open and them to flood in. Like, no. But if there are people who are
like, why would you? And second, is that one of the reasons they always say is like, they want the open borders because those immigrants will come in and vote Democrat or whatever, which is just stupid on so many levels. But
yeah, because you can't immediately come in. That's the thing. And they don't even know their own law because you can't immediately come in this country and be like, boom, here you go. You have the right to vote. There you go. You have to actually become a citizen. So first you got to go through the green card process, and then you have to apply for citizenship. Then you have to actually pass the citizenship test. It's not just as simple as I'm here. Where's my ballot? So there's a process that leads up to them even getting to that point, and maybe they don't want to stay to that point. You never think about that? Like, no.
So tell me, what happens if they're illegal and they try to get citizenship? Like, what happens then?
You can, because I think you have to apply for your green card for it. Like, there are legal steps that you can take. At least they were building, and they were actually building towards that more, of course, under the Obama administration, because he was trying to push through a way to find a way to, like, path to legal citizenship for illegals, so they can just squash this whole thing. It's like, look, make them, which, again, people, there's this stuff that is being missed by, I think, all these racists and bigots that I don't get. Like, maybe it's just me, as somebody who you would frame as a quote unquote liberal. Maybe I'm just like on a different level, because I'm thinking, okay, so if you do give these people citizenship, guess what? You just put in a pool of people who are now getting taxed, because as it stands now, while you scream and talk about this illegal alien shit like you do, you're still employing them and you're paying them. You're giving them money that they're not having their wages taxed on, so you could avoid taxation yourself. So now you have a huge pool of non-tax money flowing through this country, which, as much as this country likes to scream about this economy, if you patriate millions of people and make what they do taxable and make them above board, hey, guess what? You get new tax money coming in. There's a financial benefit to that as well. Sure, you can make statements on some of the financial burden, as some of them may try to use social services instead of working. But shit, you already got like a bunch of Americans doing that dumb shit anyway. So, it's that shouldn't be your main concern. The thing is, you have people who pay taxes who didn't pay taxes before. You can feed off taxes for these businesses, which is part of the reason why, as much as you scream, no immigrants, you don't really mean that, because I forgot this story. I don't know if you heard, but did you hear about Trump and Mar-a-Lago?
I heard something, but I didn't catch what it was.
Yeah, they petitioned to have something between 80 to 100 foreign workers be given work visas. Part of the reason was that it's too hard to find Americans willing to do the job or to be able to pay Americans the wages that they need to do the job. I know the first part was true. I forget if the wages thing was there, but yeah, they were like, it's too hard to find the people who need the work from here. Was the basis of their reasoning for applying for these foreign workers.
Don't they have to do something to prove that they at least tried to get American workers or something like that? I'm vaguely remembering this story. Like, I do remember that happened. And I remember laughing because I'm pretty sure I was driving when I was listening to that, barely listening. It's just like, yeah, of course they have that problem. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, because you keep talking about how you need to bring jobs back to Americans, but you want to give them away. Because you don't want to pay Americans decent wages, because you know you can pay these people less because they're not citizens. And that's the whole thing that I find funny, because again, we know this about Trump. This is his history. This has always been his history when it comes to his business practices. He does not at all hire Americans for the majority of his stuff, for manufacturing his clothing, for building his hotels. He always goes foreign. For running his hotels, he doesn't pick up Americans. So
very America first there. Which, I mean, I think you can have a decent discussion about not paying those people proper wages, but I'm gonna leave that alone for now. Yeah.
What is this? Oh shit! It's Rusev Day.
Every day is Rusev Day. What's wrong with you?
I know.
Trump's gonna visit Putin on Rusev Day. Gonna check out NATO on Rusev Day.
By the way, Aiden English really thinks he's a stud now. This man,
isn't he?
Kind of is. He's kind of he's the stud of all sidekicks. Definitely.
Got a nice beard. Wears the glasses well. Got a nice
I'm
physique.
getting my hair back. I don't care. Fuck y'all. You can talk all about my receding hairline all you want. I'm the boss.
It's crazy to me that he keeps up that physique simply to sing the Rusev Day song.
I know, because it's not like you're wrestling, but okay. Whatever, dude.
I saw a very brief match the other day. I'm like, huh, I forgot he's a wrestler.
Yeah, no, I mean, and he's pretty decent. He's not a bad wrestler.
Sure. But
this guy. Anyway. Oh, it kills me. Ah, man. Anyway. But yeah, that thing is the whole border thing. But it's
it continues on.
By the way, how do you feel about the ICE thing? With people calling for ICE to be disbanded?
I think it's a lazy, intellectual thing to do. I think it feeds back into that same instinct that got us Trump in the first place. You see something is not working, at least the way you would expect or hope, and your first instinct isn't to try to fix it, it's to just blow it up completely. And I don't know, when they say they want to get rid of ICE, I don't know what they intend to replace it with. I don't know if they've talked about that. I haven't heard anything specific about what the ICE alternative is, which is concerning to me. I remember one, must have been a congressman or something, say something like, we want to get rid of ICE because their jurisdiction or whatever, the range of shit they do has gone out wider than it should have been. And I was like, that's still not really an argument to get rid of them. That might be an argument to like limit and refocus them and create other organizations around that other shit. But like, I just haven't heard a good argument for just getting rid of them entirely. I think a lot of people are very pissed off with ICE because of the stuff that's happening right now, but is that not largely because of that policy shift that they seem so aggressive in this?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just the policy shifts that have made them more aggressive. It's like you want to fix ICE. Fix ICE. Just dumping it is like, because I don't know. It's weird because I guess like people feel like the well is poisoned, so just throw rocks on it. By the way, this commercial is amazing.
But I just at least want to hear.
Really quick, are you seeing this commercial?
The Sprite commercial?
Okay, so you're not seeing the commercial I'm seeing, because there is a fucking Rusev commercial with him and Lana shopping in Dollar General.
Yeah, I'm a few seconds behind you, I guess.
Look at this shit. It is wild. Sir, this man.
So wait. Oh, it was for Snickers at Dollar General? Okay.
Yes, this man.
I'm glad they understand how marketable he is.
God damn it. Oh my God. He needs to. If it wasn't AJ, I'd say put the belt on him. But shit, no. Fuck it. Put the belt on. Just put the belt on.
AJ is fine. He's AJ.
AJ will live through this.
Yeah, he's AJ fucking Styles. He'll be fine.
Yeah, in fact, fucking put the belt on Rusev. Put AJ on Raw and let him take it off of fucking Brock so we can get rid of that night. And then we'll be in a perfect balance. God damn it. Because then you could have him and like Kevin Owens and fucking Seth and all that battle for the belt. Like you should be having like a perennial battle for that goddamn belt between your top people.
I would dig it because it would be a nice story of AJ coming back after, losing to Lesnar and like redeeming himself and just, it's a nice little story, man. I like it. They have a little history there. AJ did say, if you want to go for round 2, like right after he lost that match, I'm still here. So fucking do it.
Yeah.
I like it. See what AJ does with like Bobby Lashley and shit. I like it, man. God damn. I mean, that's not going to happen, but I like it.
I know, because it's too smart and it's too good. Anyway. But yeah, the ICE thing, all that, it's just...
I mean, do you think they should be melted?
No, keep... Shut up. No. You just need to, like, reassess the... If you're going to do this, I need a viable reason as to why they're useless in it. And it can't be just because of current events, because you can modify their, how that works. I mean, you can reestablish them for what you intended them to be. You can hire new leadership and change things. You can make it so that you have a better vetting system for the agents, so you wouldn't have these incidents that they've had in recent, like going up to American citizens and calling them illegals and things like that sometimes. So yeah, you can fix it's not a unattainable problem.
And I haven't heard a good reason for why it has to be destroyed or what they're going to do without it. Because presumably it has other functions other than like ripping babies out of mama's arms and shit. Like they do other stuff that you need done.
No, it's just been weaponized in that way. That's all.
So what are you going to, like, who's going to take up the jobs that they're currently doing / supposed to be doing? That's just one thing I haven't really heard anybody address. They're just like, I don't think it's like a lot of people, but a fair number of them saying get rid of ICE.
Yeah.
Which is the nice, simple, easy answer, isn't it?
Yeah, instead of working with something and trying to fix it, but just throw it away. Try to find something new. It's like, yeah, it's not always the best way to do things.
And I'm not surprised by the people saying it. Like, I wasn't surprised when Gillibrand says that because she says wild shit like that all the time. But I don't know. I'm not about it. I think that is maybe the emotionally satisfying answer, but I think it's also the stupid one. So
yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, I talk about Raw.
that tank though.
Oh, that hurt. Anyway, so final big topic, which is the scariest topic of it all. So, if you don't know, Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy has resigned, and it's been a big to do about who is Trump going to select to replace him. He had a short list of some interesting characters, shall we say, and he chose Brett Kavanaugh, a former aide of Anthony Kennedy, by the way, ironically, to succeed him. Now, the Republicans are going to fast track this nomination. That means that this could be, or it will be, Trump's second nomination. It'll be another conservative judge. It'll shift the balance to a completely conservative heavy Supreme Court, where you have 5 justices. Oddly enough, you have 5 white male justices. Yes, I know Clarence Thomas is supposed to be black, but I think he has revitiligo. So, yes, it just keeps getting darker and darker, as Uncle Ruckus said. But essentially, you got 5 old men dictating the final law of the country, which is going to be interesting once this all comes in September. Now, a couple of questions I have. First question being, do you think there's any chance that this guy may not win his nomination?
I find that hard to believe, given who has like the majority in the House and stuff. So I don't see any. I mean, maybe the Democrats could try to slow walk it a bit, but I don't see it not happening.
Yeah, because it's weird. He's sort of a kind of safe, at least for Trump, pick. Because while he has some interesting opinions, he's not like really out there aggressive, like brash. Like he said some really questionable things, like the whole maybe a president shouldn't be able to be impeached because it's distracting to his duties. That's already hard, and having to deal with that just makes it worse. Type deal that he said during the Bush administration. He has things like that that make you like side eye him.
I thought that opinion he wrote was during the Obama administration. Wasn't it in 2009?
I thought it was the right before Obama got inaugurated, I believe. So that would kind of be like maybe it was late 2008, early 2009.
Not sure.
But yeah,
I don't think it was just the impeachment. I think like even just going at them legally in general was the issue.
It was like illegal, having them being able to have legal stuff brought to their doorstep. He didn't want, which no.
And the argument wasn't that like it's not constitutional to do it. I think he may have made an argument that maybe Congress should do something so that you can't attack the president like that. But yeah, I don't think he was saying that you cannot do it now.
No, his whole thing was like, he feels like maybe we should make laws to protect the president in that way so they won't have to deal with this. It's like he was foreshadowing to this moment, almost. Because it's a very weird statement to come out of somebody's mouth during the time he said it. Because if it was not during Bush and if it was during Obama, either way, those are 2 people that you honestly like. As much as people talked about how fucked up Bush was, nobody ever really questioned anything as being illegal. his as far as his actions were, you know what I mean? Like nobody questioned his whether or not he was being like an openly like law breaking person. No, it's weird. And same thing with Obama. It's like to say that, and it would be weird too, being the conservative that he is, that he would want to say that during Obama, because it's like, are you trying to say Obama did something? Or are you just saying this off random? It's a very weird thing, I thought. But now we're here. Now it's kind of becoming a scary reality, because it's like,
weirdly relevant.
Yeah, because now we're in a position where if he gets his job, knowing that Trump selected him, and again, this could be nothing. It could be just Trump just wanted a conservative, and this is the best conservative that everybody told him to pick, because we know how Trump is. He listens to the loudest or the best sounding voice in the room. But it's just so coincidental that this is the guy in the time that we have. And even if he didn't say that, you would have to kind of be fearful, because what's the one thing that he's been trying to say like all the time? Like, maybe I'll pardon myself. It things like he's been prefacing this whole I'm trying to figure out a get out of jail free card for himself. He's been seriously trying to get that out there in the air. Now,
I don't think it's coincidental. I think he did it on purpose because of that opinion that was written. Maybe some of us are reading too much into that opinion, but I'm certain that's why Trump wants it. If not just to allow a self-pardon, at least maybe he sees it as a way to curb his own legal troubles while he is president. Because something got a chill down my spine when I realized we're only about like a year and a half in. I don't think we're at the 2-year mark. So
no, we're literally at a year and a half come 11 days from now.
We're not even at the halfway mark. So maybe he thinks this will help him out in the long run. I don't think it's coincidental by a long shot. I think he is openly self-serving. So it doesn't shock me at all. I'm sure this was part of his motivation. But just for a second on that opinion about, allowing the president to be embroiled in legal battles being bad for the country because, they need to focus on being president. I feel like the president being a potential criminal is itself a bit of a crisis. Like that, I don't understand this argument that, you don't want the president being distracted with all this shit. I don't think the country should want a president that might be a criminal leading.
Yeah, do crime.
Like, I get the point that it's a bit much for the president to, do their job, but presumably if they're a criminal, they're not really that invested in their job anyway. They're invested in crime. So I do think there's an argument to be made that even though it might be a bit painful in the short term, the very short term, you really should go ahead and go through with these, whatever cases they might be, because you don't necessarily want a criminal just doing the president thing while he might be doing some bad shit. So I don't really vibe with that opinion he made. I somewhat understand it, but yeah. I don't think it's a good argument.
No, it's a very poor argument, because you're saying excuse the president for doing bad shit until he's not president no more. Because why? Because again, you say this and you open the door to the Russia thing, which is now he could actually legally fix elections, because I can't prosecute this guy for this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a half-ass thought out opinion, because who knows what illegal shit that you can now have a president do at that, like we are right now. The possibility of our president actually, conspiring with a foreign entity to steal an election. So no, you don't do that shit. If he fucks up, he should be prosecuted. In the story. It's not rocket science. It's not that hard. What is this running?
Yeah. The point a lot of people have been making is that, the Supreme Court picks should not be this politicized. Like, there's a lot of, I know people want to get those picks, but I mean, this is a bit much. The big man, Hardy.
We're back to face paint, Jeff.
Have you not seen those promos he's been cutting the last couple weeks?
Dude, I haven't been watching it. I just happened to just turn it on randomly and it got stuck on here. I don't watch wrestling shows like that no more. Like, again, I did not know Extreme Rules was this week.
This guy's a freak, man. I saw a couple weeks ago, like, the camera came in on him and he was like, it looked like he was hanging upside down or some shit.
Yeah.
He's just saying
it feels like he's going back to his TNA version.
Oh my god.
Why not? Fuck it.
This better not be a tag team match.
It is. It's going to be a tag. Come on. What other purpose is it for?
Shit is so lazy. Oh my god.
Page should be out. Oh, and clearly Rusev is very pissed because the shirt came off. Rusev's not amused.
Don't mind us, guys. We're
wrestling. You guys know by now we're wrestling fans. Anyway. So.
Plus, I feel like you guys needed like a few second break from like
yes, from the ridiculousness, because this is about to get really dark in a second. I'm gonna go dark. I'm warning you now, I'm gonna go extra dark with this whole Supreme Court thing because I've just started off light as fuck. So I've asked the question, do you think he's not going to get the nomination? Okay, so
I do will.
Saying that he's going to get the nomination. Let's just try to be hopeful. Preferences like if he gets the nomination. Wink. So what laws fall?
All of them.
Not a bad answer. No, seriously, it's not a bad answer. Guys, you don't want to be depressed. I need you to leave in 3, 2, 1. It's on you now. Seriously. Everybody is sitting here screaming about Roe versus Wade, which is a very serious thing to concern yourself about because, yeah, that's probably going to be one of the first things to fall off the list once this guy gets in. They're going to because now, see, a lot of people were saying the whole, the Supreme Court doesn't take things as fast as, we think they will, so we still got a couple of years. No bullshit. Fuck that. They can't select things in the order that they want to. They don't. I don't think they actually have to take them in order. They can selectively pull. It's just like the issue with the fucking travel ban.
Yeah.
That shit is not that old. Yet that shit came back up, and it skated through. By the way. Isn't it kind of ironic that 1, travel ban goes, 2, Kennedy leaves, 3, Trump nominates Kennedy's aide for the Supreme Court justice nominee in a matter of a few weeks. There is actually, people out there questioning whether or not Kennedy actually negotiated this exit to pick his successor. In exchange for giving Trump something. And it's not been denied by the Trump administration because I remember seeing an interview just earlier today where they talked to one of his press people. And when they asked him, about the rumor, all he would say is, I can't discuss what's happened and what was discussed in private. That was his whole answer. He never said no. He just kept saying, we can't discuss private conversations like that when it comes to this subject. So there's no official no on this. So it's a good possibility still. It's open. that this has all been like conspired on.
Is it illegal if they did?
That's the thing. Is it legal? No. But it is very, very like, fucked up. Because again, you go to things like Roe versus Wade, which Kennedy was the only conservative on the Supreme Court at the time to be a proponent of it. Now you have someone who's not going to be a proponent of it, or who, if he is, he's possibly in an agreement of sorts to rid that. But what else can he rid? Go down the line. The immigration thing, DACA. Let's put that on the table. Let's abolish DACA. Supreme Court can say that DACA is not, something that you can do. We just recently had in the state of Michigan where a judge in Michigan declared that students of the state of Michigan are not owed literacy from the educational facility, are not obligated to have them become literate, which makes sense of that. You don't go. We're not obligated to put you in school to learn.
I very vaguely remember this. Like, there's an obligation to provide you an education,
but not.
But I guess learning how to read is not necessarily.
But see, that sets a precedent, because if you look at the law, you're not actually owed an education either. And Trump can use this as a shooting point to send it to the Supreme Court, since he does want to disband education. Conservatives have been wanting to get rid of the Department of Education for a while now. That is a shooting point to take it to the Supreme Court now, and make them say, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We as a government don't owe education. So what would that lead to? Disbandment of the Department of Education and total privatization of education, to where whoever can afford it can get an education, like it was way back in the day. But whoever couldn't, you're on your own. Hope you can get something at McDonald's or something low level that doesn't require you an education.
Sure. Which will obviously,
which is a very a good way to socially make minorities inept again, because generally speaking, the majority of people who are not going to be able to afford it are going to be people in minorities, especially immigrants, because part of the reason why they come here is they want to give their kids a better opportunity to learn, to grow, to prosper. And we have educational programs that actually do help foreign-born kids. Here they used to call it ESOL, English as a second language, where they would teach, foreign-born kids English, and then give them all the other classes, so where they can utilize, what they learned while they're learning English, in accompaniment with a class where they have teachers that actually spoke them, understand more, and get them through, so they can get an proper education and not be left out. All that's just gonna be gone, because now you have a Supreme Court that won't support things like that. Gay marriage rights. Don't you think that they're going to want to get rid of that? Because one of the problems they've always had is, like, now that you have gay marriage rights, now gay people have rights to things like healthcare, like joint healthcare and things like that. They have the right to file taxes together and all of that. This uber Christian base that we have now, they get to finally kick this out of there.
Sure.
Other laws that have come, remember, all the amendments to the Constitution aren't necessarily in lockstep. They do have to resubmit them and basically take them and basically vote on and say, yeah, we're going to keep these amendments. Think of all the amendments they can throw out now and then they can go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court can say, yeah, that's illegal. You don't have to keep these. There's a lot of stuff that can go fucked up, like that can go to the extreme, people. If you think about it, with this, especially now that we have this uber politicized state for the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court used to be this place where you try to pick the most, bipartisan, fair, and balanced person. Yeah, they may have conservative or liberal views for the most part, but as a judge, their records and the way that they behaved in the judiciary system was by the letter of the law, which is funny how everybody's trumping this guy as he's going to follow the letter of the law. He's not going to follow the letter of the law. He's going to go with his instinct and what his feelings and beliefs are. If you go by the letter of the law, you kind of wouldn't touch most of the stuff that they want to touch.
Sure. That argument that there is an established precedent and they would obviously go with the precedent, which I didn't think was a good argument, but whatever. But I mean, yeah, the changes to the Supreme Court are massive, not just because of these, federal law changes, but because they're just so long lasting. It's not like the president, which can last max 8 years. There's not really a term limit on a Supreme Court appointee, so it could be around for decades, making these decisions.
Well, that's the thing. There is no term limit. It's right when you decide to quit. And this is one of the problems that we have with things. And this is one of the problems where now this whole it's kind of been politicized before, but you have people like Obama who tries to find middle ground people. Like Sotomayor is not a fucking like uber liberal. She's liberal, but she's smart enough to know that she can't just completely go with liberal views. She has to be rational. Same thing with Ginsburg. Ginsburg has always done her job. These are people who do their job. And that's what Garland was going to be when Obama nominated. It's like he's going to do his job. But Republicans don't want somebody to do their job. They need somebody to do their job.
So one of the uncomfortable things is that Obama was attempting to pick fairly middle-ish of the line moderate people. Like he wasn't stuffing the court with a bunch of like hyper liberal, free healthcare, open borders, blah 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 types of people. It was trying to keep it just fairly moderate so that they would just do their jobs in an objective manner, because honestly they should not be part of all this political turmoil we see in other parts of the country. They should be fairly separate from that. So it is uncomfortable to see Trump and the Republican Party in general so openly politicizing the Supreme Court picks. And it is understandable why they're so inclined to try it, because, again, there's no term limit. So, one of the points I heard people make was that they can tolerate Trump as long as they get these Supreme Court picks out of his presidency, because those are more long-lasting.
Yeah, it's the highest law of the land, and what they do, what they establish, kind of, trumps all, even Congress and the presidency in a way. So
this will be Trump's second Supreme Court appointee. So, I'm sure there are some people who would justify this presidency just based on the fact that you got those two picks. And we're not even halfway, so it's not impossible he could get another one.
Yeah, he could, because there's a couple of justices that are up there. That's why it's like, and it's sad because now we're in a state where we got a fear for Ginsburg. She's been around for a minute.
You better hold your ass on, bro.
Yeah, like Ruth, please, Ruth. Stay with us. Beg you.
I'm sure people want you around because you're cool, but
yeah, I just looked her up. You know how old she is?
like in her 80s or something.
Fucking 85. Good Lord. Oh my God. She needs to live forever. Like, because again, like she's liberal, but I wouldn't even call her a liberal. I would just like, she's just no nonsense. She's right or wrong. She's like, she is probably the textbook example of what you want a Supreme Court justice to be. She has her personal opinions on things, but she goes by precedents and what the law says and how it's supposed to be, how she feels. The law, not her feelings, are supposed to be interpreted. You know.
Sure. I mean, that is the point of that position, right? Is to determine what is, say, constitutional.
Yeah.
It's literally the point. So it's not like a president who's supposed to like dictate policy. A Supreme Court justice is made to interpret the law and decide what is and is not constitutional.
Yeah, like holy shit. Oh my, yo. I need even you to say a prayer for her. Please, sir. We need all the help we can get.
You don't feel like this is a dark moment where we're just like, babe, you just need to live just long enough and then you can do what you want. Just
right. Like, just like fucking let us prop you up so you can vote. God damn it.
So I'm sure some people are like, she just needs to live like 2.5 more years, whatever, just past his presidency. But what if it goes the second term?
But no, it's not even that. It's just that what if he gets ousted, but we get another Republican? Because there is a very good chance that whatever happens with Trump, he may not win his party's nomination, but you're still going to get you may still get a conservative asshole.
Sure.
Who plays more down party lines than necessarily try to do what's best for the country. You know what I mean?
I guess I talk about Trump getting the second term, but I mean, yeah, just generally speaking, there seems to be this assumption that the next president will definitely be more liberal because of the disgust with Trump. That's not necessarily true.
No, not at all.
I would like to think that another person wouldn't be able to get away with being as radical as Trump, but
yeah,
I wouldn't have thought Trump could get away with it so fucking.
Next person probably wouldn't, but you'd have to think if Trump did. I mean, I hate to again told y'all to leave because I was going to be very, very dark. But even if Trump gets impeached, there is no guarantee that a Democrat is going to win. Like you may end up getting a Ted Cruz or a Mitt Romney, which.
Ted Cruz would never
win
presidency.
Ted Cruz has never become president.
Maybe
Romney could.
Yes, maybe Romney's looking a lot more palatable nowadays.
Mitt Romney's actually not that great. He wouldn't be a good president. It's funny, I had a discussion with my friend when I went to see the movies, and she was like saying how like she likes some of his ideas because a lot of people kind of credit Obamacare to him because it is, if you actually look at what he wanted to do with healthcare, what Obama tried to do with healthcare, it is Mitt Romney's plan, with some edits.
Which is always the great irony that Republicans hate it so much.
Yeah, I know. That being said, like I told her, some people can't be president. And he's one of those people who can't be president because you did okay as a governor, and I think he would have been a good Secretary of Treasury. I don't think he could run a country. But because he's a much more appealing choice, he'll get that opportunity if they're able to oust Trump and put in who they want, which could be him.
And by comparison, he's looking way more appealable. Yeah, I remember when he was doing that run against Obama, I guess, and I was extremely turned off by his I don't know if the term is too strong, but I was thinking of it as like religious zealotry at the time. Like just generally a lot in the right of the Republicans at the time. They were just a little too religious. Maybe religious. They were, I don't know how to describe it, but you remember that time you had, Romney, Bachman, what's that crazy black dude's name? The brain surgeon, whatever.
Ben Carson.
Yeah, Carson. Like you had this field of Republicans that all had this weird psychotic religious element to them. Not like your everyday, like I go to church every once in a while and like believe in God, but like too far in that realm. They all had that sort of element to them. I wasn't about it. So, and I felt similarly about Romney at the time. And yet here I am like, yeah, he's looking a lot less crazy nowadays. So.
By the way, James Ellsworth was very heelish on Twitter. Did you see the tweets?
I missed it. I saw something about Serena Williams.
Because he wrote a tweet about how like he's going to prove that he can outdo any woman when he beats Oscar. And then, hey, who knows what's next? I might go and defeat Serena Williams or outrace Danica Patrick.
Yo, you don't want to set off the black girl magic, you know?
Yeah, I know.
I think you're going to find that that's going to be more of a problem than you really expected, bro.
Great heel comment, though. Back to heels in real life. Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting thing. And I really don't know how we get out of this.
So let's assume, these two Supreme Court picks that Trump has had, assuming the second one goes through as planned. Let's just assume the worst case and there's just something really wrong with them. You can't get rid of them. They're here. Like, even if Trump gets impeached, it's not like his decision for the Supreme Court gets taken back.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, he just nominated them. Congress approves these people. Mm-hmm. So Congress will already have, rubber stamped them and given them a job. So they can't go, oh, well, we thought the president picked a good person. And since the president's not a good person and this job is gone, we got to say, no, you can't. Yeah. And that's not what they want, because if you've been listening to them, a lot of people, like I saw House of Representative Corwin talk about, I think people will see that once he gets into the position, you'll see what Republican conservatism can really do for America. They're fucking psyched at getting their way. Like I've said before, the reason why Trump is in office and was able to get to where he wasn't just because of the weird whatever magic you want to call it. I think it was mostly because Democrats infighting caused stupid Democrats to want to prove a point and punish us for not picking Bernie and all that dumb shit. How did you feel now that you punished us, people, by the way? And another thing is the Republican ability to bear under the weight of something that they don't approve of in order to get what they want, which is ultimately be in control. They're willing to swallow their pride and their judgment, better judgment, just to get what they get, control, just to say we are in charge. Because that's all that's really important. They'll try to fix it later. Just give us the reins and we'll eventually get the horse under control. That's always their belief. They just want to have their hands on the reins more than anything.
And then when they do, it's nothing. I mean, one of the greatest ironies people bring up is that they spent 8 years, whenever it started, complaining about Obamacare and how they're going to repeal it. And then when they finally get the chance, repeal, replace, and then they finally get the chance, they don't really have a replace plan ready, despite all the years they bitched about it. So it's it's weird you guys are so intent on being in control and then you don't have any real plans for what you want to do. That said, I just said the same thing about fucking Democrats who want to destroy ICE, not having a real plan, but generally.
By the way, there's something weird about this match. I mean, nothing weird about seeing Naomi. But
I don't understand what these women's problem is. Why do they start fighting each other? It's just so fucking random.
Yeah, it's funny because it's a lumberjack match. You're supposed to throw the people back in.
I mean, lumberjack matches always go like that. They eventually start fighting, but it was just out of nowhere. They just started fighting for no like. Usually, in a lumberjack match, one person will like punch another, and then it kind of just de-escalates.
Yeah.
And now you have Asuka, who jumped on them for no reason, because Ellsworth was not in that pile. So. If you guys want to check out wrestling, you should check out NXT, like exclusively.
Yeah, don't check out this bullshit. Anyway, yeah, and it's funny because we say don't check out this bullshit as we watch this bullshit while we're recording. That's funny.
I am more hopeful in this than Trump as president.
Yeah, WWE will get fixed before this country, dude. That's a sad statement right there, people.
I mean, but it will though, because like eventually Triple H will be in charge of this shit, and then it'll probably take him a couple years, but it will get fixed. Whereas I'm pretty sure Trump has destroyed us forever, or he's on the way to doing so.
Yeah. This. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's a bleak future that we have looking ahead, politically speaking.
I mean, I'd like to hope that these Supreme Court people will just do their job. But, I mean, they're being picked like this for a reason. Because at least presumably they will make decisions that are more appealing to the conservative people. I think it's really gross how desperate some people are to get rid of Roe v. Wade in particular. But, I mean, to your point, like a lot of things are on the line there, but just this passionate attack against Roe v. Wade.
Yeah. Especially against something that, again, I think we've said it and many people have said it before. How ironic it is that all of these conservatives and these quote unquote staunch Christian men are so gung-ho to get rid of legal abortion when you have had so many political leaders have this be something that have been a godsend and saved them when they've gotten their mistresses pregnant, and things like that. Like so many scandals when you find out, like, yeah, they've had these aborted babies and all that. It's like, you guys benefit off of this, and you want to get rid of it? Okay. All right.
I mean, I guess sadly there's some people who probably just are okay with that because they hate the idea of abortion that bad, which I think shows me that they're reducing the effect of Roe v. Wade to just abortion. But
yeah, that's another thing.
I don't think you're gonna like what happens to other shit, just like women's privacy with their medical choices in general, if that was gone. But whatever.
Yeah. But people don't think that far ahead. Oh well, it was nice having a country. I guess my third final question before we wrap this up would be what would be your choice of muscle car to use in the wasteland, since we're going to be like Maggot Max?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna ask like, where's Brock?
I really don't care. Oh, he's calling out Daniel Cormier at UFC matches, waiting to get his ass kicked again.
I haven't seen this dude on WWE in like months, but here he is in UFC. Whatever. I'm not really a car guy. I guess I just have like a nice little bike and just.
No, you need a car that's got spikes and machine guns.
Those run on gas, yo. Those run on gas. Fuel is going to be a hard commodity, man.
It's fine. You're going to be murdering other people anyway, so take their gas. Kill them.
Like I said, as the world ends, bang. I'm not playing this game with you psychos. not me. I don't like the way you guys play. So no.
Yo, Biggie, it shouldn't just be did Biggie get bigger? Maybe it's because I'm looking at this on my 4K TV. But he's just looking extremely like, dude, what the fuck have you been doing in the gym?
I wonder what this dude's day is like. Like, does he just wake up and realize that he's already been like crunching through the night and then like
that's how pretty much he sleeps doing crunches or some shit.
Like he probably just sets like 50 pounds on his chest and like as he like sleeps at night, he's just like doing these pec ups on those
pec flexes and shit like that. When he eats, he like ties like barbells to his arm, so every time he lifts his spoon to his mouth, he's lifted 50 pounds on each arm and shit. He just has 2 spoons and going 1, 2, 3 as he eats.
Like every time we see this dude, he's doing something stupid like eating pancakes or dancing around. It was like, there's no way your everyday is just like that. Like you can't maintain a body like that.
Well, no, to get that type of body, you gotta like put in a lot of carbs.
But you also gotta like put that work in.
Pancakes is perfect. I
know. Use that energy. So like,
well, look how hype this motherfucker is. He's fucking like, he's acts like he's on speed anyway most of the time. So yeah, he's probably burns a lot of energy. And he's always acting like he's a stripper. Shit.
I mean, I know that gyrating he does is probably good for his core, but like,
yeah,
I'm just saying. like I just want to see a day in the life of Biggie to see like just how many hours he's just fucking lifting shit up and putting it down, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Wow. Okay,
Ronda
Rousey promo for.
That was because she's.
By the way, why does like her mad face always look like she's about to cry? Oh yeah, that's right, because she's on the cover, which I find distasteful. By the way,
she's not on the cover.
No, it's AJ, right? Is it AJ?
Yeah, it's AJ.
Then why does she has a cover? They just show that you can get a Ronda Rousey cover. That sucks.
She's a pre-order character.
Oh, it's just a pre-order. Okay, because I don't have the volume on because I'm scared like she's gonna be on the cover and like.
No, like they announced Ray, or was it Ray? I don't remember who it was. Somebody is one of the pre-order characters, and Rousey's like the second one.
Yeah.
I think the first one was Rey Mysterio.
Okay, that's cool, but whatever. I'm not buying it anyway. So. Besides, in a few months with these tariffs, we're not going to be able to afford video games or video game consoles or shit.
Let the cost of video games go up 1%. Like, see what the gaming community does to you.
Man, it's already bad enough how people scream about the price of games. Shit.
$59.99. Let it go up to like $61.99. Let's see the level of nonstop grief you get.
I know. It's going to be crazy.
Trump is going to realize he didn't want this problem.
He's out of office because the video gamers will unite and vote his fucking ass out.
I mean, hey, when they get pissed, there's some vile motherfuckers. Like,
yeah, as we've noticed from certain topics that have happened in the past week. Goddamn.
Trump's only saving grace is that he hasn't managed to piss off the nerd communities properly. That's it. That's the reason he's still alive. Because like.
Yeah, exactly.
He thinks all these people who care about like social issues are passionate, bruh. Piss off the nerd community.
Yeah, somebody just needs to write in his like next rally speech. You know what? Luke Skywalker deserved to go the way he did. It's done.
Done, yo.
Star Wars community will come and kill him. Like they will take him out.
I bet you he gets off Twitter. You can't block that many motherfuckers. Tell you, man, he just needs to step in the right piece of shit, and all of a sudden the nerds will unite and save the country.
Yeah, no, they certainly will.
So there's a good note to end on. We just need to wait for him to piss off the right groups. That's the issue. Like, it doesn't matter if he pisses off black people or like women or gay people. It's the nerds he's been avoiding because he doesn't want that shit, bro. He's not
exactly. PC gaming is not good. Just let him say something shit like that. Watch the world burn around him.
She just say the Wii U was better than all the PC gaming or something.
Oh yeah, exactly. All right.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's funny. It's an IHOP commercial here. It's funny because IHOP had to change their thing.
Mario is a shit game. Yeah, I don't feel like the Nintendo people have the guts to really. It's not really them.
No offense to Nintendo people, but y'all will just do more whining more than anything.
Yeah.
Why people don't love you?
Yeah, they don't have like the vile nature.
They're not
to
like
them.
Xbox people or PlayStation people or PC Master Race people. Like they'll come after you.
Yeah, like the Nintendo people just kind of like live in their Nintendo circle and don't
like,
give a fuck.
We're good too, and then like
you gotta piss off the real gamers. Sorry, Nintendo.
Oh, we're offensive for no reason. That's when it's time to go. All right, everybody. So thank you for watching. We appreciate you watching the show. I am in the middle of researching new equipment, so there might be some format changes coming down the line if I can afford this stuff. But if you want to go to the Patreon page, feel free to donate so I can get all this equipment and make this a more fancier podcast. So
I don't know what that means exactly, but I'm sure it's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna add strippers and alcohol.
I hope I'm not expected to be the one stripping because
no, I'm talking about real strippers.
I'm just
I
saying.
want to see you.
Like I'm not in Ellsworth shape yet, so I'm still
Wow,
working.
you're not even in Ellsworth shape. Jeez, that is not good. Not good at all. Anyway, but yeah, there will be some changes and stuff. We'll look forward to that. Look forward to more of his point of view. Check out the Q&A episode of that. That was interesting. The questions that we were asked. Whoever asked all those questions are nosy.
Was that the last episode? Because I can't watch that episode.
Why can't you?
I didn't like the title of that episode.
What's the title? Oh, I'm not gonna drink. I'm not drinking that. You can watch it because it only happens in the last 10, 20 minutes. So
I don't trust it. Nope.
No, I'm serious. No, I'm being 100% honest. That subject definitely doesn't come up until the end.
I feel what I should do is go and like flag that video. Make sure they take it down.
Enough, it kind of already has been flagged. Courtesy of Katina's musical choice, weirdly enough. So the song that she picked, apparently this company is starving enough to where they hit us with a copyright infringement. So the video can stay up, but they get the monetization, which I find hilarious. It's like,
no, that's not. They should have taken it down. You can't have that poison on the internet.
Whatever. Like I said, you should listen. You don't have to listen to the last 10 minutes. You'll know exactly once we're done because she'll say, okay, the questions are done. That's when you run. And if you guys are very curious of what we're talking about, I'm not going to say it because I want you guys not to run and actually listen to it.
Yes, I'm aware because we've had this
discussion. Yeah. But you guys need to find out for yourself because it's an experience that you won't want to miss.
Yeah, check out the show. Black's a dick.
I'm not.
Don't sigh like you're not a dick. Like you, bruh.
I'm getting tired of being called that. This is.
Why do you think people say it, bro?
This is a witch hunt.
Bro, if it walks like a witch and quacks like a witch, you're an asshole. I don't know. I didn't have that saying put together. What's that? What's that music? Andrade Cien Almas. By which I mean Selena Vega. Anyway.
right, we're out of here, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this.
Book suggestion. I just finished this one.
Oh,
It's called "How to Change Your Mind: What the New Science of Psychedelics Teaches Us About Consciousness, Dying, Addiction, Depression, and Transcendence." So it's this interesting book about using essentially psychedelics to create like a lot of what they were using it for was for like I guess mental treatments is a good way to put it, for like depression and addictions and stuff. They would note like these certain habits in the brain, like when you're depressed or addicted to something, right? So you end up trapped in like this cycle of thought, like your mind is on this, like it's a train on these railroad tracks that it can't seem to hop off of, and it just keeps circling back to these essentially bad thoughts or whatever. And they used different types of psychedelics, I guess, to, I don't even really know how to describe it. I would seriously suggest going to that book because it's rather interesting. They used it to like change your state of consciousness temporarily, and doing so seemed to like jump that train of thought off the tracks, and they were able to kind of use that to create more positive experiences for people long term. So it's like, I think one of the effects is that it has like the ego disillusionment. So you kind of lose the sense of self at some point during one of these trips on these drugs. And that kind of gives your brain a bit of a reset, I guess. It's not like, normally when you think of taking like a medicine, it is to physically treat something about you. Whereas the strategy here seemed to be create a new experience for that person, and that experience itself will have profound effects on them. And they showed surprising results in different arenas, from, again, addiction to depression to that existential dread that comes with dying and stuff, because they tried it with like cancer patients who were dying, and it really helped them look at their deaths in a new way. And they seem to link all these different mental states together, from addiction to depression, with just this idea of being kind of locked on this sort of mental loop that you have a hard time escaping from, and having this brief ego disillusionment because of these drugs happens to just kind of knock you off of the tracks there. It allows the train of thought to just jump the tracks. And then, I don't know, it's a very interesting book. I will say I found myself for the first time in my life thinking about the idea of taking psychedelics, which I never really considered before, but they made quite the interesting argument. And I would say, like, I was about to say, like, I'm certainly not suggesting people go and like just find a way to acquire psychedelics and just take them, because what they describe in the book is really professional. Like, they use it, like there's a guy, like a medical professional with them who kind of guides them through it. It's a very controlled environment. It's not like you just sit on your couch and like shoot up or whatever. Like it's a fairly professional setup and walkthrough of this type of thing. But I'm having difficulty explaining it. I would definitely suggest going through that book. I listened to it as an audiobook. It is interesting, the points they were making about how they were using that stuff. And apparently it is research that they were going through like several decades earlier, but I guess, socially, such drugs got like a very bad connotation over the decades, especially like the war on drugs and shit. So you see a period of like a few decades where that research just kind of like went under because it was just so politically distasteful. I think it's coming back up again, although they still seem pretty wary after what happened last time, with just the way our society started looking at those drugs. Interesting book.
Yeah, you're gonna send me the link to that. I can find it.
Sure. Yeah. I even had it up because I wanted to get like that full title. I didn't feel like How to Change Your Mind was a clear enough title. Let's see. There's like an Amazon link, although I listened to it on Audible. Which the audiobook link is there too, I guess.
Yeah.
I know, Kindle and audios, so many different fucking formats, man. Yeah, there was a lot of interesting stuff in there. There was like even this story about this dude who was dying of some kind of cancer, and he'd never done any like drug like that in his life, and I don't remember which specific psychedelic they gave him, but it just completely changed the way he looked at dying altogether. Which is one of the major experiments they did, which was with dying people, just to shake them out of that existential dread. And it's not like, a lot of drugs that affect your mood where you keep taking them to really kind of suppress those negative feelings. It was more a long-term change as an effect of it. And they use it for a lot of shit. Like some people were able to like limit their smoking and get off that shit entirely. It was an interesting new way to try to deal with those types of mental problems that I would never have thought of. Because again, I think you always think of just medicine as just treating something physical, and you just either do it once or you just keep doing it and it has a physical effect. But their main point was always the experience that is had can have positive mental effects. I don't know. Check out that book, guys. I find it more difficult to explain any of the other books I have suggested before.
Yeah, I might have to look that up.
What I should have done was like just go to some like summary or something of it and just read it verbatim.
No, because like I get what you're saying. It's just
I mean, so
very interesting. By the way, I don't like Google anymore. They just deleted my bookmarks, which is weird and random.
But
there's some glitch.
I was gonna say, like, for those who don't know my stance on all this stuff, like, I don't even drink alcohol. I've never smoked anything, never done any kind of drugs. So, like, I've always been fairly, shying away from that type of stuff. Like, even as a teenager, I never drank or did any of that shit, even though that was, like, a rite of passage for a lot of people. So when I saw this book, it came up on some podcast, and the argument he was making interested me enough to check it out. But my first, instinctively, I was, like, reeling away from this idea of, like, using psychedelics for anything positive. I was like, this guy must be some kind of fucking hippie or something from the 60s, just trying to convince me that psychedelics is a cool thing to do. He hadn't actually really done it before that either, so it was rather interesting to watch like his journey.
Yeah, I'm not somebody who's into the drug thing either.
Yeah, so I find it odd that like he was managing to convince me of. I'm not signed up to like be in one of those studies or try to figure out like how to do it, because again, it is the type of thing you would do with like a healthcare professional, and you have to get like screened and shit because not everybody is equally adept at doing that. Some people might have complications, so I don't even know how you would go about it, but I find myself at least considering it in a way. So I will say I do have
He's gonna become a drug addict.
Well, apparently they're not really addictive, so that was something else I didn't know. But I will say I'm still hesitant, but not because I think the concept is bad. I think what worries me is like, when a lot of those people that he referenced in the book described going through was like confronting the things mentally that were, things that they would normally like pull away from emotionally. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to be forced against the things that like I'm trying to run away from emotionally. That's some hard shit, man.
Oh, don't make me do it. That's funny. Okay, so not Amazon. Google is being extremely strange.
Why did you piss off the...
I don't know, but this might be a good time for me to get off because it's bothering me that it's not showing my links. So,
it's not showing the bar?
Yeah, definitely send me that. It's shift everything around, and half of the stuff that I have as bookmark is not showing up. Which is totally fucking with me. Because
somebody else is like logged into your shit somewhere and they're messing with it.
That's what it feels like. It really does. But anyway, we're going to dump shit out.
Yeah. While Black's going through this crisis over here.
Yeah. Anyway, again, thank you guys. Appreciate you for watching. I'm going to go find that book and then get it out of my loop of anger because right now I'm really pissed.
Sure.
Anyway, take care. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.